When the Galactic Council exiled the humans, they thought it was the end of Earth's ambitions. The verdict had been clear. Banishment from all trade networks, no access to wormhole routes, and total isolation beyond the Perseus Rim. The Council had called it justice. Humanity called it betrayal. Back then, the humans were considered reckless newcomers. They had joined the galactic stage only 2 centuries prior, bringing with them dangerous inventions and unpredictable tactics. They questioned the authority of the elder species, disrupted centuries of delicate treaties, and refused to kneel before anyone. When they refused to dismantle their navy after the Arcturian incident, the Council voted unanimously. Humans were to be expelled, and so they were cast out. The wormholes leading to human space were sealed. Their colonies were stripped of trade rights. Every species believed they would fade away in silence. Consumed by the void and forgotten by history, they were wrong. 100 years later, when the first whispers reached the inner systems, they spoke of something impossible. Merchant ships that had drifted too close to the galactic fringe returned with stories of colossal human vessels, ships larger than city-states, moving silently across the dark. Those few who survived encounters described them as ghost fleets, their hulls black as night, marked only by a single emblem, a silver circle enclosing a blue star. The Council dismissed the reports as lies. No one believed humans could build anything so vast without trade or aid. They were supposed to be extinct, or at least broken beyond recovery. Yet the stories persisted. It was the Kelran expedition that changed everything. Commander Orvis Kelran, of the Varelian Empire, led a fleet of 12 ships to explore the Perseus expanse. His orders were simple: to confirm whether the human remnants posed any threat. What his fleet discovered would shake the entire galaxy. Kelran's ships crossed into uncharted regions where no known star maps existed. At first, the scanners showed nothing unusual, until they stumbled upon a structure so vast that even his flagship sensors failed to measure it. It orbited a dying red star, a ring hundreds of kilometers wide, pulsating with power readings off the charts. Before the crew could transmit their data, the void around them rippled. Something emerged. A single ship, human in origin but unlike any design ever seen. It dwarfed the largest Varelian battleship. Its surface shimmered with living metal, shifting like ocean waves. The human emblem glowed across its hull, serene and cold. Then a voice echoed through every communication band. "This region is under the protection of the Terran Dominion. You are trespassing." Kelran, proud and arrogant, laughed at the transmission. He ordered his fleet to advance. They launched warning shots. The response came instantly. One beam of white light swept across the void. In less than a second, half his fleet was gone, vaporized without a trace. The remaining ships scattered. But the human vessel did not pursue. It simply transmitted a single message: "Leave. The exile ended long ago. We have no need for permission." Kelran's crippled flagship limped back to Council space. His report caused panic. The Council convened an emergency summit. They reviewed the recordings, the image of the human warship hovering before the ring, silent and unyielding. The data confirmed impossible energy levels far beyond galactic standards. The elder races debated endlessly. Some called for diplomacy, others demanded a preemptive strike. But the truth was already beyond their control. Within months, more sightings followed. Human fleets began to appear near border worlds, not to attack but to observe. Their ships maintained perfect formation, never initiating hostilities unless provoked. When Council patrols tried to intercept, they vanished. Planets that had once mocked humanity's exile now sent urgent requests for protection. The humans did not respond. They had built something greater than anyone had imagined. In the century of their isolation, humanity had turned inward. Cut off from the rest of the galaxy, they faced starvation, resource collapse, and despair. But humans were resilient. They mined asteroid fields, built self-sustaining habitats, and developed technologies born of necessity. Artificial suns illuminated their colonies. Entire planets were transformed into shipyards. They learned to harness dark matter, to bend gravity itself. Their greatest creation was the Dominion Network, a chain of hyperstructures linking hundreds of systems through artificial wormholes of their own making. While the rest of the galaxy clung to ancient roots, humanity forged new ones. They built an empire hidden in the dark, one that no one could challenge. The leader of this reborn humanity was known only as the Chancellor. No image of him existed, only his voice, a calm and commanding tone that spoke of patience and purpose. He had unified all human worlds under one banner, not through fear but through resolve. Our exile was not punishment, he had once declared to the Dominion Assembly. It was our awakening. Now that awakening was spreading. The turning point came when the Council sent the 7th Coalition Fleet to investigate the human expansion. 200 ships from 15 species gathered at the border of Dominion space, armed with the most powerful weapons the galaxy could produce. They were confident. After all, they had faced wars before. They had never faced humanity reborn. When the fleet crossed the invisible line into Dominion territory, the stars themselves seemed to dim. Then came the humans. Not a single vessel, but thousands. They emerged from dark space silently without energy spikes or hyperspace trails. Their formations were perfect, rows upon rows of ships that stretched beyond sensor range. At their center was a single dreadnought, larger than a moon, its hull engraved with the symbol of the blue star. The Coalition demanded they stand down. The human commander replied with calm precision. "You came to measure our strength. You will leave knowing it." The battle that followed lasted 12 minutes. Every Coalition weapon, from plasma cannons to singularity warheads, failed to breach the human shields. In return, the humans unleashed weapons that bent light itself. Entire squadrons vanished in waves of silent destruction. The dreadnought fired once, a single pulse that erased the Coalition's flagship and shattered the morale of every fleet. When the humans ceased fire, the void was silent again. Only a few damaged ships remained. Humanity did not pursue. Instead, they transmitted one final message to the entire galaxy. "We are not your enemy, but we will never again kneel." The Council tried to conceal the defeat, but it was futile. Every surviving crew member carried the story. Civilizations across the stars trembled. Trade routes shifted overnight as smaller empires swore allegiance to the Terran Dominion, seeking safety through alliance rather than resistance. In the span of a decade, humanity became the dominant power in the galaxy, not through conquest but through inevitability. Their fleets patrolled the outer sectors, ensuring peace through quiet strength. Their scientists shared technology selectively. Their diplomats spoke rarely but decisively. They had become what the Council once feared, a force that could not be ignored. Some species still resisted, unable to accept that the exiled race now ruled. The Draxan hierarchy, proud and ancient, launched a last defiant strike against a human colony. Their fleet never returned. When their homeworld's moon inexplicably vanished from orbit days later, they surrendered unconditionally. It was said that the Chancellor addressed their leaders personally, his words neither cruel nor boastful. "You exiled us once because you feared what we might become. You were right to fear." By the 200th anniversary of the banishment, humanity's empire spanned 1/3 of the known galaxy. The old council dissolved, replaced by the conquered, a coalition of species united under the Dominion's watchful gaze. Humans did not rule with tyranny. They ruled with quiet certainty, their fleets always nearby, their influence subtle but absolute. Every world knew peace. Every trade route was secure. But beneath that peace lay an unspoken truth. The galaxy existed only because humanity allowed it. On the former council world of Thalen Prime, a statue now stood in the Grand Plaza. It depicted not a human warrior, but a lone figure reaching toward the stars. At its base, an inscription read, "From exile, we found purpose." Generations later, historians debated how humanity had achieved such transformation. Some claimed their technology had surpassed comprehension, tapping into forces beyond science. Others believed it was willpower. The same defiance that had once made them dangerous now made them unstoppable. But those who truly understood knew the answer lay deeper. Humanity had never sought revenge. Their rise was not driven by hatred but by survival and unity. While the galaxy squabbled over pride, humans built. They planned. They endured. When the rest of the galaxy looked away, they became something greater. And now, as the stars turned slowly over the Dominion's vast realm, the Chancellor's final recorded words echoed through the archives of 1,000 worlds. The day we were exiled was the day we began to rise. The galaxy cast us into the dark, and there we forged our light. Let every world remember this truth. We do not conquer, we endure. We do not seek dominion. We are dominion. In the centuries that followed, no empire dared challenge the humans again. Even when new species emerged from distant corners of the cosmos, they learned quickly that the heart of the galaxy no longer belonged to the old council. It belonged to those once forgotten, to the humans, banished, reborn, and eternal. And though many feared,